So in this video, we are going to be talking about the evil witch that no one likes except for the mainstream media, and how a cult was giving her a lot of money and also, whoa, what a surprise, violating the law in doing so. Of course, this video is going to be about NXIVM because, hey, if you have a cult that does ritual abuse, human trafficking, human slavery, human branding, yes, human branding, why not just give as much as your money away for politicians to, grease the wheels a little bit in your illegal satanic behavior? Yeah, that's what this story is about. And it's fascinating, to say the least, to see these two strange entities connected together. As, of course, we know the NXIVM trial is happening right now. Documents are coming out. Even the bookkeeper to NXIVM invoked the Fifth Amendment dozens of times during, of course, a grand jury. And there's new documents confirming a lot of explosive details. Jason, you saw the documents. What are some of the things that pop out to you in them?
Yeah, I have not read the full 40-plus page deposition, but what is very interesting is that Hillary Clinton is named without being named in these documents. We're going to read the actual segment, but let me tell you how we know it's Hillary Clinton. Before, we didn't know this was illegal, Luke. We just figured, NXIVM back in 2007 when she was running in 2008, they loved Hillary Clinton. In fact, a bunch of them donated $29,000, the maximum, to her campaign.
Yeah, and it's important to understand she was also a senator in New York, where, of course, a lot of the NXIVM activity happened. Keep going.
Yeah, exactly. So now, in these documents, it looks like they weren't big fans of her at all, Luke. It looks like it was a scheme to give her more money than they actually could. And by who were giving her more money? Well, it seemed to be Claire Bronfman and Nancy Salzman. Nancy Salzman, one of the co-founders of the institution. Claire Bronfman, in these documents, basically being outed as the true head of NXIVM. Remember, I've been telling you Ranieri in many ways was a frontman. So let's just read some of this so everybody can check it out. At trial, the government intends to introduce witness testimony and documents demonstrating that in 2007, same year as the article we just showed you, the defendants and their co-conspirators were involved in an illegal scheme to exceed contribution limits to a presidential primary campaign. This, of course, has to be the Hillary Clinton campaign. Witness testimony corroborated by documentary evidence will demonstrate that at least 14 members of NXIVM community, including at least 5 defendants and co-conspirators, made the maximum campaign donation to a primary campaign with the understanding they would be reimbursed by Bronfman and Salzman. So basically, again, they donate, they get their money back. That is absolutely illegal.
Yeah, before we get into the more details of it, the New York Post article says a purported pyramid scheme operator, this is NXIVM, who was run out of Arkansas when Bill Clinton was governor, has reinvented himself as the head of an upstate group accused of being a cult, and his devotees have pumped thousands into Hillary Rodham Clinton's presidential run. This is, of course, New York Post, October 1st, 2007. Executives and top associates of the Albany-based NXIVM group, along with their family members, donated $29,900 to Clinton's presidential campaign, according to federal records. So again, this collaborates everything that even the New York Post was reporting all the way back in 2007. And again, so what happened here was they promised to pay them back and didn't pay them back?
Well, it was racketeering. It wouldn't matter if they did pay them back. You're not allowed to do that. It's a racketeering charge. In fact, let me continue. This was all set up by a political operative who was later found guilty in an unrelated New York State bribery charge, also involving illegal campaign contributions. And of course, the contributors were bundled and presented to the candidate at fundraising event attended by conspirators, including Nancy Salzman. And a cooperating witness who attended the event will testify that the defendants and their co-conspirators made the contributions in what? Hopes of obtaining political influence to advance their own agenda, including targeting perceived enemies of Ranieri. So in other words, yeah, we'll donate to you, we'll get all this money together, but we need some political favors. And I have to wonder if down the line, some of those political favors started coming out with Eric Schneiderman, the Attorney General of New York, when initially, when this stuff came out a year ago, big time, right, Luke? You know, the Times Union had been reporting on it. But in April of last year, look at this. Oh, Schneiderman, Eric Schneiderman, decided he was going to suspend the probe into NXIVM, and that might have been the last we heard of it. Except for 4 women accused him of violent abuse, and he was forced to resign. You know what happened while he was resigning? His ex-girlfriend compared him to NXIVM cult leader Ranieri. Now, there's other stuff that's been speculated on the internet. We don't speculate here. We show you the hard to nuts documentation. But it looks like, again, NXIVM is now more intertwined with Hillary Clinton than ever, on behest of who? The Bronfman family, who is also in business with the Rothschild family, Luke.
Yeah, that's what I really want to kind of talk about more is Bronfman specifically here. But before we get into that, I mean, this is absolute remnants of what we've been seeing time and time again with people like, you know, Jimmy Savile, with Jeffrey Epstein, which we covered, of course, previously, where, of course, very bad, horrible people go off to politicians, give them a bunch of money, donate a bunch of money to charity, and then everyone is supposed to just overlook all the crazy crap that they're doing, which many people compare akin to, of course, satanic abuse. I mean, when you look at the larger case here of what was happening here at NXIVM, with all these documents coming out, with all these witnesses coming out, with all the allegations against them, it is absolutely jaw-dropping when you look at the details of what they did, of how they treated women, how they, you know, allegedly locked them up, branded them, showed them just the most grotesque videos, tried to, of course, you know, I would even go as far as to talk about mind control here, with that being a prevalent aspect with trauma-based kind of induced controlling mechanisms there. You're loading up some VLC documents there, Jason. Is that correct there?
Oh, I didn't realize that would go right over you. I apologize about that, Luke. Yeah, well, you were talking about how demonic and satanic, and I just want people to understand that this is Ranieri right here himself, saying some pretty interesting stuff, Luke. I think that the people might want to hear this.
I'm very devilish, and I think I'm probably the worst coach in the world because I'm just a demon. If I'm coaching you, I'm going to have you do something with your left hand, your right hand, your left foot, your right foot, your head, and then I'm going to ask you to, do the hard thing. So I do this. It's with a twisted sense of pleasure.
So he's demonic, he's devilish, and he does it with a twisted sense of pleasure. I apologize for blocking him out with this VLC document, folks, but I really thought that was important for everybody to kind of get into the mindset of Ranieri, who ultimately, really, Luke, looks to be just a puppet of a larger operation.
Yeah, it's a weird video. I definitely would want more context to what he was saying, but many times a lot of bigger kind of crooks out there usually let a lot of details slip in kind of humor or kind of sarcasm. And but you think he's the front guy for this Claire Bronfman character, and she has many interesting connections to say the least, right?
Well, I am not only one saying it. I've said this for quite some time. I attended that NXIVM symposium, and here, explosive new document confirms Claire Bronfman was directing NXIVM and trying to prove India Oxenberg was sane. For those that don't know who Oxenberg is, that is the daughter of the soap opera star that rescued her. Actually, her mother was at that symposium. If you'd like to check that out, it's an hour and 40 minutes. So this documentation seems to confirm what I've been saying, that Claire Bronfman was really pulling the strings. Remember, this also involves, Luke, the former president of Mexico's son, never indicted. Supposedly, one of the witnesses for the prosecution is a girl that, or a woman now, but at the time she was a 15-year-old girl having a sexual relationship with Ranieri, and is supposedly also running the operations in Mexico. So these operations are still going on outside of New York. In fact, NXIVM is still a thing. It hasn't stopped yet. So all of this coming to a head, we'll see what happens, whether it's going to be slaps on the wrist for people like Bronfman. Will Ranieri do real time? Mac has now pled guilty and said that she will work with the prosecution. A lot is coming out. A lot of revolutions are being made. And remember, Claire Bronfman, Sarah Bronfman are the daughters of Edgar Bronfman, not only the billionaire Seagram's heir, but also involved heavily in the entertainment and music industry, as was his son, and also the head of the World Jewish Congress that went out and got a bunch of the Nazi money and gold and paintings and whatever out of Swiss banks, out of Swiss escrow. So Edgar Bronfman is notorious in a lot of circles. By the way, Edgar Bronfman also was a mentor to Hillary Clinton before she started getting into politics herself. In fact, Hillary Clinton spoke at his memorial service and talked about that relationship.
Wow, the connections here are just mind-boggling. I have nothing else to say except I'm excited for more of these documents to come out, more of this information to come out. We deserve to know what is happening here, and we're finally getting a look, a small peep. We're only seeing a small segment of it. You guys can only imagine what we still don't even know about when it comes to all these cults, all these politicians who, of course, are all being bought off and all having a very nice, cozy relationship, and probes going away. Yeah, gee wonder why there's so much corruption, why people don't like Hillary Clinton. I don't know, Jason. Absolutely confusing. Other than that, thank you guys so much for watching and being a part of independent media. If you guys appreciated what we're doing here, you guys need to share this video because most likely the YouTube algorithm won't. And your donations keep us going and keep us free and independent. wearechange.org/donate. You guys are more important than ever. And that's why I love you guys. Stay tuned for more here on wearechange.org.